Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Just wanted to report on a story that came out. Study finds that children raised Christian or Muslim are less altruistic. And a bunch of different news outlets picked this up. And basically the biggest one, probably The Guardian, suggesting religious children are meaner than their secular counterparts, study finds. And basically the study is of nearly 1,200 children between the ages of 5 and 12 between US, Canada, China, Jordan, Turkey, and South Africa. Almost 24% were Christian, 43% Muslim, and then 27.6% non-religious, with the rest of it being Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, agnostic, which didn't really affect the study claimed by these scientists here doing the research. So let me read for you just a brief portion here of this article. The children were asked to choose stickers and then told they were not enough to go around for all children in their school to see if they would share. They were also shown film of children pushing and bumping one another to gauge their responses. The findings, quote, robustly demonstrate that children from households identifying as either one of the two major religions, Christianity and Islam, were less altruistic than children from non-religious households. Other children, usually those with a longer exposure to religion, exhibited the greatest negative relations. The study also finds that religiosity affects children's punitive tendencies. Children from religious households frequently appear to be more judgmental of others' actions, it said. And I actually read the official report, and one of the biggest problems I see right from the get-go is that they're under this assumption that children that are raised in Christian homes are more moral than people that are not. And that's a false statement there. That's not something that is promoted by Christians or anything like that. I guess some Christians do, but I know that your rational Christian will never say that, because we all know that human beings are fallen, they're in sin, Christian or non-Christian, it doesn't matter. So it's really a faulty premise to begin with. But there's an article by William M. Briggs called "Here's Why That Study Claiming Religious Kids Are Less Altruistic Stinks." This was published today. And let me just read this for you because it's fairly short. It says here, heard about that scientific study which scientifically shows non-religious kids are scientifically more altruistic than unscientific religious kids? The Guardian summarized it thusly, quote, religious children are meaner than their secular counterparts, study finds. Religious beliefs appear to have negative influence on children's altruism and judgments of others' action, even as parents see them as more empathetic. Scientifically speaking, this is crap. Here's why. The scientific science study The Guardian cites is a peer-reviewed article, The Negative Association Between Religiousness and Children's Altruism Across the World, in the journal Current Biology by Gene DECEIT and a bunch of others. Biology? Never mind. And you see the problem right from the get-go that he's pointing out here, which is that the field of biology should not be able to speak into moral or philosophical dispositions such as altruism. But in any case, he continues here. Authors gathered kids 5 to 12 from the US, Canada, China, Georgia, Turkey, and South Africa and asked them a bunch of scientific questions, scientifically quantified those questions, produced scientific statistics, and then made scientific propositions about the whole of the human race. Say, are there differences in behavior between 5 and 12-year-olds? That doesn't sound like a scientific question, so never mind. Here's how you can replicate their study at home. First, define altruism. Go on, I'll wait. Have a definition in mind? I'm sure it's correct and matches everybody else's definition in precise detail. Details like no greater love, supreme sacrifice, kindness, patience, love, and so on, right? Well, maybe not, but never mind. Instead, think about how you would quantify your definitions. Quantification makes your definition scientific. Science means unquestionable truth. Was your answer about quantification a dictator game? Like this from the supplementary description. Children was shown a set of 30 stickers and told to choose their 10 favorite. They were then told these stickers are yours to keep. Children were instructed that the experimenter did not have the time to play this game with all of the children in the school, so not everyone will be able to receive stickers. Children were finally shown a set of envelopes and informed that they could give some of their stickers to another child who would not be able to play this game by putting them in one envelope, and they could put the stickers they want to keep in another envelope. Experimenters turned around during the child's choice, and children were instructed to inform the experimenter when they were finished. Altruism was calculated as the number of stickers shared out of 10. Yes, this scientifically captures every possible nuance of the scientific concept of altruism, doesn't it? Science, 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 science. It must be science. Scientists wrote this, peer scientists reviewed it, and scientists nod sagely when reading it. The one thing ironic that I think a lot of these research projects do is they always lie to children to try to get some sort of ruse out of them. And this is consistent with other research projects that have come from this scientific point of view, trying to prove certain things about kids. And so it's ironic that they would be immoral in their process of measuring a moral ethic. Getting back to the article here. Now, define religiosity for kids. I'll wait again. Have it? Haha, that was a trick question. The author never assessed the religiosity of kids. They did it for the kids' caregivers instead. How? The authors asked parents to name their religion. They also asked parents questions like, how often do you experience the divine in your everyday life? They took pseudo-quantified answers from these and combined them scientifically with a quantification of religious attendance and derived a complete scientific quantification of religiosity. This was assigned to each kid in the study. After that, children completed a moral sensitivity task programmed in ePrime 2.0 and presented on ASUS T101MT touchscreen computers. My goodness, how scientific. An ASUS T101MT. Just think how dramatically the result might have changed had they used a ASUS ROG G752 or an Acer C910 C37P. You know what happened next? Wee p-values through the terrible abuse of regression on the pseudo-quantified answers. A picture showing one of these is at the top. Notice the wee p-values. That makes the findings scientific. All those dots are the answers to the pseudo-quantification for each kid. The flat surface is the regression, expressing this and nothing else, the change in the central parameter of the normal distribution representing uncertainty and altruism. Did you think that it was something different? Notice, almost none of these dots are near this flat surface. That means this model has no real predictive value, which, scientifically speaking, means this study is crap, and where I use science in the old-fashioned pre-government grant way. Finally, no paper would be complete without wild, overreaching theorizing about cause. The authors say their findings, quote, contradict the common sense and popular assumption that children from religious households are more altruistic and kind towards others, end quote. Idiots everywhere are taking this literally. I'm too tired to make a joke about science. You do it. The study is so bad that it's good. I mean, it stinks to high heaven. Nearly everything is wrong with it, start to finish. Yet, it's good because it takes so much effort to dissect, and the effort reduces the critic to such a sputtering mess that the criticism is bound to sound like an old fart yelling at the kids to get off the lawn. Why I am right. Update. P-values are rotten evidence for anything. 2. Regression is deeply flawed and not what you think. 3. Probability models do not prove cause. 4. Asinine studies like this are common. And most importantly, don't throw a temper tantrum and, for you men, cry like a little girl or say that I am a bad person. Show exactly where I'm wrong and the author's right. If you cannot do this, keep your mouth shut. I'm too tired and too surly this morning to put this more politely. So he goes after this study pretty hard. And who is this guy, William M. Briggs? Well, he's a statistician, an adjunct professor of statistics at Cornell. And so, when he's looking at p-values and, all this stuff, he knows what he's talking about. He also has a PhD in mathematical statistics, though he's now a data philosopher, epistemologist, and probability puzzler, unmasker of over-certainty, and self-awarded bioethicist. Well, in any case, regardless of his credentials, he doesn't have any kind of religious dog in the fight. And he's saying that this, quote, scientific finding is garbage. And, just in the logic of this, I read this whole report thing, and you can tell that there's so many presuppositions there and jumps to conclusions that it's really hard to believe that this is science. At the very least, with the integrity of science, and I would even imagine people that are, pure science people would look at this and say, wow, this is a weak experiment to show this sort of cause or alleged cause and suggest that, because of the 1,200 sample size of children 5 to 12, the way they quantified altruism and the way they quantified religiosity, and they came to this huge conclusion that, takes the headlines, religious children are meaner than their secular counterparts. If this doesn't smell agenda, I don't know what does. So I just wanted to point that out. And then also, you got to remember that this whole study was funded by the John Templeton Foundation. And John Templeton is, there's information that he's a Christian. He passed away in 2008. And now this foundation is being upheld by his son. But there's plenty of articles that suggest that the John Templeton Foundation is not really Christian or religious in that sense, and they've stripped their sort of religious or even Christian, more specifically, agenda behind their foundation, and they're more looking towards funding, the more philanthropic areas in life. And especially when you look at this, they look at mathematical, life sciences, human sciences, philosophy, and theology. And one of the areas where they push is genetics. It says here, the foundation takes a particular interest in how major advances in genetics might serve to empower individuals, leading to spiritually beneficial social and cultural changes. So there you have it. There's a deeper agenda going on here, and there's some stuff that ties Sir John Templeton to Freemasons and stuff, but I'm not going to really dig into it here. Just know that there are some smatterings of that out there, and no surprise with certain people like this. And this might be a topic that I really do want to cover, is this idea of religion being used as a weapon, or at least Christianity especially being used as a weapon. Sir John Templeton quoted as saying, "There is a great need for both scientists and theologians to be open to the spiritual significance of new discoveries in the sciences." And I agree with that statement. At the same time, I don't know that his goals here or his intentions are being upheld, especially after his death. So there you have it. What do you think? Do you think this study from Current Biology is legit? I don't think so. I think there's way too many assumptions. They're jumping to conclusions on a lot of this stuff. So many more variables to altruism, to religiosity, to everything. I don't even want to get started. There's so much more variables than all this, and they've tried to simplify it with these p-values and create a chart out of it. And again, it's just a continued agenda to paint anyone who has a religious affiliation. And I think it's becoming more clear that Christians are being melded into the Muslims here. The whole West thinks that Islam or Muslim is a violent radical religion. And of course, the extremists in that sense are, and I certainly don't agree with the Islamic worldview at all. But at the same time, extremism can happen in any form. And what I think they're trying to do is continue to push this agenda that violent extremists are anyone who is religious. And that's the agenda, with scientific, quote unquote, studies to show that confirmation bias. So I'll link to all the stuff here. Check it out for yourselves. Let me know what you think. Hope you have an awesome day. God bless.